Let me tell you about two friends named Alex and Jordan. They graduated college on the exact same day, landed jobs with the exact same starting salary of $50,000, and even lived in the exact same apartment complex. But here's where their stories split in a way that should make you deeply uncomfortable about your own bank account. Alex did what most people consider responsible. He opened a savings account at his bank, and every month he transferred money from checking to savings. He watched the number go up by exactly what he put in, and that felt like progress. It felt like winning. Jordan did something that seemed almost identical. She also took money from her paycheck every month. She also put it somewhere else. But the place she put that money was different, and because of that one small difference, their financial lives diverged into two completely separate universes. The difference between Alex and Jordan wasn't intelligence. It wasn't luck. It wasn't even how much they saved. It was their understanding of a single mathematical concept so simple you can do it on a napkin. That concept is called the Rule of 72. And if you don't understand it, I need you to know something that might sting a little. You're not building wealth. You're building a very comfortable, very socially acceptable version of staying poor. Here's the thing about how most of us think about money. We've been trained to see it as a pile. You work, you get paid. The pile gets bigger. You spend, the pile gets smaller. This is linear thinking, and it makes perfect sense when you're looking at your checking account. But there's another kind of growth happening in the financial world, a kind of growth our brains are terrible at visualizing. It's called exponential growth, and it's the difference between someone who retires comfortably and someone who retires wealthy. The psychological trap here is brutal because it doesn't feel like a trap. It feels like being responsible. When you put money in a savings account earning almost nothing, your brain releases a little hit of dopamine. You did the adult thing. You're a good saver. But while you're sleeping peacefully knowing your money is safe, you're missing the only force that can actually make you wealthy without working 100 hours a week. That force is compound growth.
Let me explain the rule of 72 in the simplest possible terms. You take the number 72 and divide it by your annual rate of return. The result tells you approximately how many years it will take for your money to double. That's it. 72 divided by your interest rate equals doubling time. Let's run the numbers on Alex. He put his money in a savings account earning 4% interest, which is actually generous these days. 72 divided by 4 equals 18. It will take Alex 18 years for his money to double. If he puts away $10,000 today, he'll have $20,000 when his hypothetical child graduates from high school. Now, let's look at Jordan. She didn't do anything fancy. She bought a basic index fund that tracks the 500 biggest companies in America. Historically, the stock market has returned around 8 to 10% per year on average. Let's use a conservative 7%. 72 divided by 7 equals roughly 10 years. Jordan's money doubles in just 10 years. Here's where the psychological horror show begins. Let's zoom out to a full career. Both Alex and Jordan are 25 with $10,000 to start. They plan to work until 65, a 40-year runway. Alex at 4% turns $10,000 into about $48,000. Not nothing, but not life-changing. Jordan at 7% doubles her money 4 times in that same period. 10,000 becomes 20, 20 becomes 40, 40 becomes 80, 80 becomes $160,000. Same starting point, same amount of time, same amount of effort. One ends up with 48,000, the other ends up with 160,000. The difference is over $100,000 from a single decision of where to put the money. And here's the part that should make your stomach drop. I used $10,000 for easy math. What if it was 50,000?
What if it was 100,000? The gap explodes into a canyon, and the only difference was understanding a number smaller than 100. This is where we need to talk about why most people end up like Alex even after hearing this explanation. It's not because they're bad at math, it's because of something called loss aversion. Our brains are wired to feel the pain of losing a dollar about twice as intensely as the pleasure of gaining a dollar. When Alex looks at the stock market, he sees the red days. He sees the scary headlines. He sees his 10,000 becoming 9,000 next week. His brain screams, danger, retreat to safety. So he keeps his money in the savings account where the number never goes down. What Alex doesn't see is the invisible loss happening in the background, the doubling cycles that never happened, the future wealth that evaporated not because of a market crash, but because of inaction. The market will have bad years, that's guaranteed. But over 40 years, the market has never failed to trend upward. Never. Through world wars, through pandemics, through everything. The real risk isn't the temporary dip in your brokerage account. The real risk is arriving at 65 and realizing you traded 40 years of comfort for 40 years of missed opportunity. The rule of 72 reveals how time becomes either your greatest enemy or your most powerful ally. A seed in a savings account never grows into a tree. A seed in the market, given enough time, always does. So what do you do with this information tomorrow? I'm not telling you to throw everything into risky stocks, but I am telling you to ask yourself one uncomfortable question. How long will it take my money to double at the rate it's currently earning? Here's the simple framework. Keep enough cash in a high-yield savings account to cover 3 to 6 months of expenses. This is your emergency fund. Safety is the goal here, not growth. Everything beyond that, every dollar you don't need for at least 5 years, belongs somewhere it can actually double. For most people, that means a low-cost index fund. You don't need to pick winners or watch financial news. You just need to put the money there and leave it alone. The real skill isn't picking stocks. It's doing nothing. It's trusting the math over your emotions. There's a quote often attributed to Einstein. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it. The rule of 72 is the calculator that shows you which side you're standing on. Alex and Jordan started in the same place. They had the same opportunities. The only difference was that Jordan understood a number she learned in 90 seconds, and Alex spent 40 years protecting himself from a fear that never actually hurt him. So here's a question I want to leave you with. Can you tolerate the temporary discomfort of seeing a red number in exchange for the permanent wealth that comes from letting time do its work? Or will you choose the comfortable lie of the savings account, the illusion of progress, the slow march toward a retirement that never quite feels like enough? The rule of 72 has already revealed the answer. The only thing left to reveal is what you're going to do about it.